if you are interested in seeing some beautiful squares, and I'm not bragging, I just think they're very well not constructed, designed. I have 2 animal blankets that I want to show you. If that sounds like something you want to hang around for, join me. Good morning. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and I'm glad you're here. Whether you're new or you're a returning viewer, thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. Grab your project, grab your drink. I am about to pop open my second caffeine drink for the day. Now, before anybody comes after me, these right here, it's sparkling ice caffeine. They have 70 milligrams of caffeine, which my traditional Mountain Dew has 55. So it's just slightly over a Mountain Dew. But this puppy only has 5 calories. The Mountain Dew has 200. And, yeah, this one has all kind of good stuff in it. A lot of electrolytes that you need. Okay, so I'm sitting here looking at the 2 blankets that I finally finished. Yes, I lost at Yarn Chicken. I was sewing the edges together, the things around, and you'll see here in a moment. Remember, I wasn't sure about the grays. I have a dark gray, I have a soft gray, and I had a medium gray. Well, what I was calling medium gray, which I think Karen 1 Pound calls it medium gray, Red Heart calls it gray heather, and I think those are almost 2 interchangeables. I'm not 100% sure, and I'll explain that in a minute. Now, I have them laid out on my work table. I had one on a towel on the floor. Trust me, I vacuumed first. And then one on a towel here on my work table, and steam blocked them. But when I brought the one from the floor, laid it on here after I put the towel up, I realized it really didn't do much. The steam blocking. I always thought steam blocking made it look more refined, and it might be because it's sitting on top of the other blanket, which has lumps and bumps, because, you know, the animals are 3D. So let me show you the first one, okay? Let me see. All right, that's the top. I'm going to have to do it in sections. I hope I got every block shown to you. They are so blasted cute. And that's not me. If anything, I was not happy with the way I did the blocks, the animal versions, because some of them looked a little special. They looked a little goofy, a little off. But in the end, you will be able to tell what each animal is. Now, I was going to try to... Actually, if I put my laptop... Hang tight. I'm going to put my laptop right here and see if I can't kind of hang it a little bit on there. I don't know. Yeah, you never know. I don't want to put it on my sewing machine. Okay, there we go. It's kind of hanging over the back of the what's my word, y'all? Laptop. Now for blanket number 2, and I'll give y'all all the details and all that good stuff in a moment, but I figured y'all would want to see it first. All right, this is the first one. Let me make sure I'm looking in my TV screen there. Okay. And I'm going to do... Actually, this is a lot easier to do it that way. Oops. I hope I'm getting all of it in there. Who knows? Who knows with me? You never, 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 never know with me. Now, I don't really have a place for this one to lay. So, I might just keep this on the table. Now, I'm going to fold up my other towel that I had protecting my cutting mats while I talk to y'all about the details. So, all of these were made out of, let me see if I can reach it from here. Of course I can't. Hang tight, yo. They were made out of this book, for those of you who are new, because I did have a up spike in subscribers. So I don't know if these subscribers were already viewers and just clicked subscribe or not. But anyway, just in case. This is a book that was gifted to me from a friend named Meredith. And there's the ISBN number right there. And I made all 20 squares. And they had 2 alterations. Okay. So the polar bear, all right, this bear right here, see him? He had an alteration in the book to make the polar bear. So I made him, and then the deer had an alteration. Let's see, where's the deer? The deer's on the back side. It had an alteration for a fawn, which I did both of them, but I didn't include the fawn, and here, let me show you. I had extra left over, because y'all, I had extra. This is the fawn, but the book had it on a pink background, and I didn't think about it. But these are going to 2 little boys, and I know boys can have pink. I know that, but I know these parents. So, this got excluded. Also, the little jellyfish got excluded. I don't think they called this a jellyfish in the book. Hang tight. It might have been octopus. It was... It was a jellyfish. They did call it a jellyfish. Alright, so, and then the kitty cat. The black and white kitty cat. Those 3 got excluded, along with 3 plain squares. Because I had these things at 5 square wide by 5 square long, and it was too big. So I reduced it 1 row to where it was 4 wide and 5 long, and that came out to a perfect baby size rectangle. So what I'm thinking is, I didn't even put the gray on the border for this one because I knew that was going to be excluded. But I did put the gray border for everything else. And I wove in my ends. So these will probably go toward another blanket, or it could go toward my scrap granny squares that will become a blanket. But I do have, actually it was, 6 additional squares that I did not use. I will say that yarn chicken that I played, I lost big time. And I was kind of freaked out because I thought that I had lost to a point to where I could not get that yarn. Because I had 2 skeins of this. One was unwrapped and it was huge. And I'm thinking that's a Karen 1 pound. In fact, well, I'm using my laptop. I'm recording on my phone. I think Karen 1 Pound has a medium gray or a medium gray mix or something in the Karen 1 Pound. It makes sense for how big this massive ball was. And then I had probably maybe a tenth of a skein left of some Red Heart Gray Heather. I cannot tell the difference in either one. I mean, I'm looking at it, and I really cannot tell where one ended and one began. But I don't have Karen 1 Pound anywhere around here. Okay? Since Joanne, rest in peace, closed. Yeah. Hobby Lobby doesn't carry mainly anything but Yarn Bee and Crafter's Secret. And I love this yarn, which all of those are, as far as I know, Crafter's Secret. Crafter's Secret might not be their brand, but I don't know. And Michaels, they don't carry it. They do carry Karen. Actually, I might be wrong on Michaels. I know they have a butt ton of loops and threads because that's their brand, but I'm trying to think. It didn't even come into my brain. Because of that little bitty bit of a skein that I had left was Red Heart Gray Heather. And it matched the other perfect. So I thought, okay, well maybe it's not Karen 1 Pound. Until I finally did get another ball last night. So I posted to my Instagram that I was playing Yarn Chicken and I lost. And I was freaking out because I was looking everywhere locally to see if Walmart had any Gray Heather. Nobody, and I didn't think about the regular versus the jumbo. But I couldn't find the regular anywhere. Now my sons were working in Augusta. And my husband said, why don't you check Bobby Jones Walmart? So I did, and they had a jumbo. Now, to be fair, when my sons went in there, one son went to go get something that him and my daughter-in-law needed, and then the other son went to look for my yarn. He said, Mom, I was getting frustrated. I went to the aisle you told me to. I was looking all over the place. Found the tag. There was none in there, and I was getting frustrated. Or he looked for the tags and couldn't find the tag at all. Because, now they have the new digital tags. And he said, I couldn't find it at all. And he said, I stepped back and I looked up, just kind of, getting frustrated and sighing and looking up. And he said, there was one on the very top shelf. Now, thankfully, my son is 6'4", 6'5", so he can reach up there very easily. And I think he's like 6'4.5", honestly. He might be 6'5", depending on the shoe, but barefoot, I think he's like 6'4.5". But anyway, I'm so glad he sighed and got aggravated because he probably would have never looked up otherwise. But the end result is I got my yarn. They brought it to me last night, and I stayed up way too late to finish the first blanket because I ran out. I lost at Yarn Chicken before I finished the first blanket, and then I was able to do the second blanket. So I'm really, really, really glad that I had enough. Now, like with any blankets that I make, I don't pre-wash them. I send them to the parents, or I gift them to the parents and telling them, you need to wash this in whatever your baby can handle. Because, detergents are weird things. And I've never had anybody come back to me and say, well, after I washed it, ends came undone or anything like that. I've never had that. Now, I have been shown pictures of the end poking out a little bit. But trust me, I weave these like 3 or 4 times in different directions. So it's always safe to tell them, just snip that off. It's safe. Trust me. I have been doing this for going on 30 years, honestly. And I have not had one unravel yet. So, keeping your fingers crossed that my weaving end capabilities continue to be on point. Now, I'm steadily looking at this thing, just enjoying the heck out of looking at it because it's so pretty. It is so pretty. And this took, now, doing the border around all of the squares, which I think I ended up with, let's see, there's 20 squares per blanket, right? Yes. It's 4 by 5. So 40 squares that I did here, plus these 6. So that was 46 squares that I put the border, actually technically 45 because I did not put a border on that one. So 45 squares that I put the border on. And then I did join this together like I joined my Aqua Elements section blanket. Oh, speaking of my elements, Gwen, I'm sorry it took me a couple days to get back with you on that email that you sent me about the aqua blanket, the teal one. I did email you back, so just let me know if you're okay with that, and I will find out your shipping. Just send me your address so that I can calculate the shipping for you. As far as these right here, I did the same join. I went on the back side and I single crocheted the squares together in rows, and then I did columns. And I love the smoothness of that, because when you look at the join and then you look at the border, it just worked out so great. Now, we'll show you the back. The back does have the edge, you know, the seam, but I'm not worried about that. The seam doesn't bother me. I just didn't want the seam in the front because I like the look of the clean. I mean, there's so much texture going on in these blankets anyway. I like the cleanness of it being a flat. I mean, I've done braided, I've done mattress, I've done whip, I've done join as you go. You know, there's all kind of different ones that I've done. And I think I'm the happiest with this right here. Now, that may change on blankets in the future. I don't know. But for now, and it might change if my block is a different, if it's a different color than my joining yarn, you know. I don't know. But I'm really tickled at how these two came out. And I think I went with the right color, that medium gray. And I call it a medium gray because of the different color grays that I have. I have a dark gray, and then I have a light gray right here. So I think that was a great compromise, like the light gray there. Now this is Aran, and that's like they call that cream. Karen 1 Pound calls that cream. I call that butter yellow, but that's just me. Now, I've got, these things took 2 days. I'm not kidding y'all. Between doing all the borders and of the 45 and then sewing them all together and then putting, because what I did is I did the single crochet to join each one, but then on the border I went the wrong way and did half doubles, and then I did another row of half doubles, the correct, you know, so that I didn't want the edges bowing forward. So when I had the edges this way, you know, for the block, it was forward. And then when I went back, see, instead of coming back and doing it this way, well, technically, if you're working on it, instead of doing it this way and it folding more, I just flipped it and went this way, working in the back. Even though I'm doing both loops, I was working, you know, from the wrong side, and that straightened it up. And then I finished it off by working the correct way from the front. And I love how that came out. Cheesy Pete, y'all forgive me. There's not enough caffeine in the world today for me, and it's not going to end. My daughter-in-law texted me. She's like, do you want to go to Cook's? Which is a local farm stand around here. Because even though we have both planted green beans, and y'all, my green stalk, my birthday present, it is going great. In fact, after I filmed this, I was supposed to harvest my green beans from the greenhouse and the green stalk before. I like to do it first thing in the morning, but I also didn't want to get all hot, sticky, and sweaty before I had to come in here and film this with y'all. But when I steam blocked these this morning, I had to wait an hour for them to dry, and basically it did nothing. So you know what? I could have had this recorded early this morning and then went out and picked my beans. But anyway, even though we are harvesting some green beans, it's not enough bulk. Because I don't know if y'all have this problem. Last year and this year, I have heard a lot of people are having problems with their string beans or their green beans stop production during the major heat. They're not producing. Because I had a flush right there at the beginning when the flowers first bloomed and everything. I harvested them, but it wasn't enough to get a true. So my canner holds 8 pints. It wasn't enough to do a full canner full to preserve those. So usually I will just roast some fresh green beans with some potatoes in the oven. But now that I have the bush beans in my green stalk and the pole beans, now the pole beans down in my greenhouse are finally starting to produce again. And hopefully they'll continue to produce, but there's no guarantee. So my daughter-in-law was wanting to, and she didn't plant near as many as I did. Because I know I love my green beans throughout the winter, so I can as much as possible before they stop producing. But I wouldn't mind getting a bushel or two of green beans from a local farmer and supplementing my canned green beans with canning those green beans. Anything is better to me than buying the canned green beans. I'm not hating on anybody that does. Please know that. I just prefer to do it myself. Now, put this right there, so pretty. Now that I have these done, and it, like I said, pardon me, it took me 2 days of solid crocheting to do all that. Which kind of bums me out a little bit because usually I crochet faster than that. But now I can get started with Isaiah's. Now these are both for my great nephews. I can get started on the binding on Isaiah's quilt, get it finished up, get these 2 things packed off to Indiana, and then I can start on the other quilt for the other great nephew. So, yeah. I'm excited because it's moving along, and there's also a couple new things I want to try. Tell me, would y'all be interested in doing... Do you remember when I was making some pouches? I was testing out some different pouches and stuff for like notions pouches to go with the drawstring bags or the totes. And honestly, those pouches could be used for almost anything. You could combine them with my wristlets, like these little wristlets that I have. I mean, you could literally combine them with this and have it like a wallet, or, you know, like not a keychain wallet. Well, yeah, kind of. So that if you wanted to, you could have it on hand and just put some money in your license in or something like that. But I was thinking more along the lines of notion pouches. But they would be big enough to hold at least that big of a pair of scissors. Because I think this is the biggest compact scissors I have. Now, I do have some rainbowy metal scissors that are probably about like that. I don't think I would make it that big. The pouch might end up to be about that big, but that doesn't mean that it's gonna fit the big notions. Now, what I was thinking was putting a tab on the pouches so that if you did want to put like a carabiner or something to hook it to a project bag, your purse, a wristlet, a tote bag handle, you know, any of that it could straight up do that. Now, it could honestly, I mean, it could hook to one of the drawstrings on the project bags, no problem, doing something like that. But I was thinking about making some of those in the patterns that match the tote bags and the project bags. Would y'all be interested in those? Or would you be interested in those as something separate, you know, like I said, like a wristlet, a wrist wallet, or just a little wallet pouch or something like that? Tell me if you're interested in that, because I was thinking about go ahead. Now, I do have my prototypes. I still have my pouches that are prototypes. And they're decently, I'll show them the next time I do a video. But, I mean, they're decently sized. They're about that big, I think. I think they're about that big. I think they're like 4 or 5 inches. Yeah, maybe about 5 inches. So, basically, I would be just be recreating them. And it wouldn't be like they would be I wouldn't be throwing out a lot of them at one time, because they do, even though they're small items, they still take a good bit of time to make because of the way I do them. Because I want my zippers to be flat, you know. I don't want them to be bunched up and angled. Does that make sense? Now, my first try or two, it was, yeah, that was probably back, I think that was still when I was working at Joann before we closed. But it was not ideal for the way I wanted to make them. So I stopped. And then I figured out how I wanted to do it. But now I think there's a better way. Instead of putting the tabs to where it makes them a little bit more straight, I think I can leave the zipper a little bit longer to where it tucks in between the liner and the outside fabric. I think. I don't know yet. And a couple of y'all have asked me about quilting some tote bags. I hadn't thought really about that anymore. I know I mentioned it at one time, and I might do 1 or 2, but I don't really want to do this massive amount of quilted bags. I don't know if it would work with the project bags. I know it would work with the totes, but I don't know if it would work with the project bags. I mean, I could quilt some of the little Notion pouch or any of the pouches. I could probably quilt those. Yeah, I could probably do that. But there is one project that I want to do. And I got the tool for it. Y'all know that I showed you this when I did my Michael's reward haul. I got the tube maker. And it's uniquely Mateo's fault for the jelly rug. Now, I think what I might do, I don't know if I want to start with placemats or if I want to start with a rug for my kitchen. I have a rug currently in my kitchen, so I don't need a rug in there. But, like I told y'all, my mom loved those braided rugs. And this reminds me, the jelly roll rugs remind me a lot of that. Now, the thing about it is the batting. You'd have to have 2.5-inch batting, right? I mean, if my jelly roll is 2.5, I can't remember. I think Mateo, I think she does. Does she do 2.25 batting? Her and her mom cut their own batting out of this big, humongous thing that they have. I don't have, for one, I don't have one of those cutters that make it really easy. It's like a big cutter. Because I don't know if this is something I'm going to want to do. So, I do have jelly rolls down here that I could use. And the batting, either A, I could cut my batting into 2.5-inch strips or 2.25-inch strips, whichever one I need to do. It would be a long process because I simply don't have the setup that other jelly roll rug makers have. And I'm okay with that because I haven't tried it yet. It's one of those things that have been on my list for a hot minute. And I got this. But to be fair, I needed to get a lot of the stuff that I was in the current process of doing. Now, the bulldog quilt, I don't know if I'm going to rush on that right now. There's a whole lot of stuff behind that situation, so we're just going to leave it at that. Once I make that, once I finish up the one great nephew's quilt, my sewing will be open. I mean, I'm not counting, project bags or totes that y'all order or anything like that. But my free time sewing opens up. So, I don't know. Y'all know what I told y'all back. Well, most of y'all might not remember this because I don't know how many people have been here from almost the beginning. But I was trying to knit some I can't think of the word, y'all. Christmas, the things that hang on the fireplace. Stockings. I had to go around it to remember, stuffers for that, which is called stocking stuffers. So, yeah, stockings. I did see something come across my feed on Facebook for, it's an ad to buy these, but they were quilted, the things that I just said. For those of you who are new, forgive me. I do have word problems sometimes. Quilted stockings. Okay. So I thought, well, instead of trying to, because I did buy some really, they almost look like our huskies, my son's huskies fur. And I was going to use those last year, but I didn't have them unpacked in time for Christmas, so I just put out our regular stockings. Which don't match. Now, to be fair, you know, my sons have their own stockings and whatnot, but I have family stockings here. So, I'd like them, they don't all have to match, but I'd like them to at least be cohesive. Which they're not right now. And we are in August, so if I do want to get those made, I need to put that in my mental thing and put it on my dry erase board. Or I can put it in my handy dandy hot pink that matches my nails notebook that I just bought. But yeah, so those are the upcoming things that I want to do. The question is, which will actually be done? Yeah. The first thing is finishing the quilt to get it off, because right now it's on where my yarn storage is. It's clipped to those, you know, 9x9 or the 9 square cube shelvings. It's hooked up there to that. So it might be later tonight. That might be, yeah. I might do that later tonight when we get back from the farm stand. Because tomorrow we are going to pick corn again from the field that lets us pick corn for $5 a dozen. I think that's going to be our last harvest from that field. I don't know of any other field that is open for you pick, but that should be the last harvest that we're able to get out of that field. And that's fine, because right now I have 34 pints, 34 can jars of fresh corn that we canned, or that I canned. And I think she has somewhere close to that. I do have about 8 Del Montes that I still had. So between what I already have canned, the store-bought stuff, and tomorrow's harvest, I think that'll do at least 1 corn a week. So that'll be fine. I'm not counting the corn that I'm freezing. Pardon me. I'm so sorry. But so the next couple days, I'm glad I got this done, because it frees up my time to do that. And it did rain yesterday early in the morning, so by tomorrow I should be able to do some more stump piles. So yeah. But at least I'm staying busy, right? Now, come winter time, it's not going to be as busy. We're probably still going to be burning stumps because there's just that many piles. But, you know, the canning and stuff like that won't be as busy. Then I'll have more time to focus on my sewing, the fun stuff. I mean, that's not to say that making bags and totes is not fun, because it is. Oh, and let me tell you, I was carrying my big butterfly tote, and I carried it. Where was it? Where were we going? We were in Columbia somewhere, and I had so many compliments on that tote. They're like, "Wow, that is beautiful." I'm like, "Thank you." They're like, "Where'd you get it?" I said, "I made it. I made it." And it's handy, because trust me, I was carrying around all the squares and stuff for this, and then I started carrying around the octagon cardigan that I'm working on, which that did have to be put on hold to where I could get these 2 finished. Now, that's the only other crochet project I have going right now, is the octagon cardigan. And of course, y'all know I still have all those knitting projects that I have to get finished. Yeah. So, we're going to get there. We're getting there. And I will calculate how much these weigh. I did weigh, let's see. Oh, I did not weigh. The aqua blanket is finished, so it needs to go down here and be added to the beginning of July forward weights. And also all of these, because I have the granny squares that I was making, you know, on Friday, the normal Friday granny squares. I had those counted, but I did not count these. So, now just to refresh, as of the end of June, for my 2,600 grams, my 2,600 grams of crochet, I had already hit that, I think it was, yeah, it was 2,478 grams. So obviously I've already hit it, because just the aqua blanket would have taken care of that, because that was unfinished. It was 1,180 grams. So finished is probably going to be well over 1,300, maybe. I don't know. But, so I would have already hit that. Plus I have these two. And I am going to count, I don't know if I should count these on that or not. But my knitting I have not, I don't think I finished anything else. Let's see, knitting. And I'm going to transfer all this to my pink notebook too, because this poor little steno pad has reached its end. Yeah, so I have not finished any of the socks because I haven't really picked them up. Normally I pick them up to do on trips and in the car or something, but I've been working on these portable squares, so the knitting hasn't gotten any love yet. I did finish that last ball on my aria top. And then I started working on the, what's the other one? I can't look at my laptop because it's up under there. Cable Strata with the K&C hand-painted fingering weight cotton. So I did get one shoulder done. Now I'm working on the other shoulder, and it's coming along. So once I do those two, I'll be able to join the top and then work the sleeves, and the Cable Strata should be done. So I don't have a whole lot to do. Well, then I'll have to do, you know, the neckline and then the bottom of the sleeves, but it won't be that bad, I don't think. And then I can get into, well, no, I want to see how those two, I know how the aria top fits because I tried it on, I put it on the try-on tube, and I fell in love with the way it fit. So I may end up using, because I have the yarn bee in, I have the two different yarn bees. One is in Supernova or something like that. And then the other is that burgundy autumny colorway. I can't remember the name of that one at the moment. But I also have the Malabrigo that I got for a while back from Premier Yarn. So those are three. I think I have 3 shirt quantities. I don't have enough for make sweaters, but I mean, I don't need sweaters down here in South Carolina anyway. Even in the wintertime, I can get by with a short sleeve under a light jacket. So, yeah. I need to get some of those knitting, those 12 cast ons of 2026 finished. Basically, I think what I'm going to do, the Main Street tee, and there was 4 t-shirts. It was the Cable Strata, Aria, Main Street, and Seaside, at the Seaside, I think. those two at the seaside is the one I think I'm going to continue. The Main Street tee, I want to do it, but I want to do it in fingering weight, because it's called for a DK weight, so I may try to work up a gauge. I like it. It has a little bit less positive ease than the others, but I might not like it because of that too, because y'all know my weight's fluctuating back and forth, so I may want a little bit more positive ease just in case. So Main Street, they do have, I think she has a fingering weight option, but I can't be sure because there was two. No, I think she had a machine version and then a hand knit version, but I think both of them, or the hand knit version, I think is in DK. The yarn I picked for it is in DK, and I got gauge with the DK or the sport weight, one of the two. It wasn't fingering. But if I do those, it's going to be a wintertime thing because I won't be able to wear a DK in the summertime here. Just by wearing what I have made that is fingering, it's plenty heavy enough. So I don't think I could do that. But anyway, I'm going to get off here. I don't even know what time I started talking to y'all, but my daughter-in-law and my grandson should be finishing up their school soon for the day. And then we'll be heading, sorry, I keep hitting the table. We'll be heading down to the local farm stand. And I don't know what my daughter-in-law is looking to get. She didn't specify, but I know we had talked about trying to find some bushels of green beans. But I need to go out here before I even text her and say I'm done. I need to go out here and harvest my green beans so I can kind of know how much I need. Because these are not done. The ones in the green stalk, I planted them late, but they're bush variety, so they do, you know, they're probably going to put out a little bit better, maybe. So we'll see. But I'm going to get off here. I don't know what Friday's video is going to bring. It might have some sewing or something in it. I don't know. I'll figure that out tomorrow. So I will see you then. And until the next video, Friday, take care of you. Try to find you some joy in your day. It's there, even though I know it's near impossible some days to find it. It is there. Yeah, just try. And give yourself grace if you can't find it, because sometimes it's really hiding. But anyway, I hope you have a great one, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.